Alrighty, I do believe that if everything is going the way it should, then we should be live. What is going on, Dragon Ball fans? Welcome to another Dragon Ball Super discussion video, where today we're going to be talking about the powers of Super Saiyan Blue, the God Essence entirely, and has the true nature of Super Saiyan Blue been reached in Dragon Ball Super? And I want to go on ahead and welcome my guests here today. Amish is live, and of course Dazael, alongside Fusion and several others from our Discord channel. Now keep in mind, guys, I'm not really a power scaling type of person, but in the latest manga chapter of Dragon Ball Super, it reveals Goku's ability to master Super Saiyan Blue by sealing its overflowing power within the body. That way Goku can last very long in long periods of time when it comes to him using Super Saiyan Blue in combat-like scenarios. Now, with that in mind, I wanted to get everyone's take on the essence of Super Saiyan Blue and your overall thoughts on just the overall factor that is of Super Saiyan Blue, and just seeing the strength factor come about, because I understand that some people are going to say, well, Super Saiyan Blue is this, Super Saiyan Blue is that, but I want to go ahead and get Emish's take on this. I want to get Emish's thoughts. Emish, if you're here, I want to get your thoughts on Super Saiyan Blue entirely, and just where you guys would scale Super Saiyan Blue in terms of what we saw in the latest manga chapter, and where you feel as if Super Saiyan Blue is now in Dragon Ball Super.
All right, so what's up, everyone? It's good to be here as always. And first and foremost, originally, when in the power scaling community, or just in the community in general,
right?
When people try to portray how strong Goku was in Dragon Ball Super, how strong Super Saiyan God is, how strong Super Saiyan Blue is, basically anything that involves Goku and comparing it to the God tier class.
Right.
So they always compared it to, they always referred to Battle of Gods after the time limit for the Super Saiyan God concept had ran out, but the God's red burning shine, according to Beerus' head, was still burning deep within Goku, right?
Right.
So after that arc, what people tend to do is they took that concept and they ran with it going forward, which is not, it's not their fault. It's just the way that the anime and everything was portrayed, and it led us to believe that because Goku merged with this or made this quote unquote power his own or something like that, or he absorbed it, that it should theoretically just basically amplify what he's capable of as in his base form in his Super Saiyan 1, 2, or 3, right?
Right.
And a lot of people ran with that concept. So basically what I came to realizing yesterday after I was working on a video to try and compare Gohan in his base form versus Goku in his base form, I was scripting up what I wanted to say, and basically I was trying to portray that I'm also aware that Goku does possess the powers of a Super Saiyan God, so that's also going to be taken into consideration. But as I was writing that, I thought about it and I said, wait a minute, but Goku in his base form, or is as a Super Saiyan 1, 2, or 3, he is not utilizing God Essence because he can still be sensed by mortals. The only time he's not being sensed by mortals is when he taps into God Ki and thus giving light, and the concept for Super Saiyan Blue was born.
That being Super Saiyan
Blue, which is right. So ergo, which is ironically the same way it happened in the Battle of Gods arc, that specific scene where Goku had supposedly made the power his own, that specific part right there was plot induced. And after the Battle of Gods movie, they decided that they were going to continue on with Dragon Ball Super, making it a series. And the way to fix that to fix what happened in the Battle of Gods was to introduce Super Saiyan Blue. Now, right after the Battle of Gods, or his fight with Beerus, that's when obviously Vegeta went to train with Whis. He wanted to become strong, this and that, and eventually Goku had tagged along.
Right. Right.
Around that time, as when they were training with Whis had told them that, guys, I can feel your ki leaking out from all over the place.
Yeah, that was when they were fighting. Yeah, he actually pointed them out. He was saying, you need to sustain your ki and not let your ki pour out.
Yeah, raise it.
So raise it, but within yourselves, and don't let it leak out. The minute they did that, they collided fists one more, and boom, Super Saiyan Blue was born. So basically, what we can pretty much come to the conclusion is the fact that God Essence Goku in his base form, or God Essence Super Saiyan 1, 2, or 3 does not exist. The God Essence that Goku had obtained there never amplified or buffed his Super Saiyan 1, 2, or 3, or even his base form. The reason people thought that was the case was because they took a plot-induced script based on a movie, right? That was later retconned after Super Saiyan Blue was born, right? They took that concept and ran with it just because Goku continued to fight as a Super Saiyan. If that were the case, then why is it now that despite Battle of Gods being retconned, why is it that right now that Super Saiyan 1 Goku isn't enough to go up against Android 17? Why is it now that Super Saiyan 2 Goku isn't enough to go up against Mr. Gohan, Ultimate
Right.
Gohan? And other comparisons could be made. For example, like when Goku went Super Saiyan 3 against Trunks, that was perfectly fine because he was just overwhelmed at Super Saiyan 3. At this point, he was overwhelmingly more powerful than Trunks. The reason he was so strong was because Goku and Vegeta have been spending all this time training in their base forms with Whis. So that's in fact what powered them up. It has nothing to do with the God Essence concept. The God Essence concept only comes into play the minute they tap into it and transform into a Super Saiyan Blue and extend their current being into a Super Saiyan Blue, right? Therefore, that's the only time their actual essence or their life force cannot be sensed by anyone else other than someone who has the ability to sense God Ki.
Of
And
course.
you can, and now that we see the Kaioken being incorporated so many times into the series, what we can come to the conclusion is the fact that if Goku had such perfect ki control in his base form, right? If he had this God essence in his base form, he would be able to utilize Kaioken in his base form at this point, right? He would be able to utilize the Kaioken in his Super Saiyan form at this point. That would debunk.
And that's the thing about Kaioken right now, because for those of you out there who don't know, in the latest leak for Dragon Ball Super manga chapter number 24, we saw a sequence to where Goku fights Merge Zamasu to where I disagree on, because I don't think this ought to happen. Even with Goku's current ability, we saw that in the latest manga chapter that Goku quote-unquote has mastered control over his Super Saiyan Blue ability to where he's able to control the functionality of that form and embed all that ki within his body. That way he can fight, you know, for longer periods of time, which again, I agree with that stance and finally Goku having total control of that god form, but I disagree with the idea of even where Goku stands as of right now for him to even go toe-to-toe against Merge Zamasu in that manga chapter. It's different than the anime because again, we spoke about this off camera, it kind of like contradicts itself, because in a way you're gonna have those people that favor the anime over the manga, and for those that favor the manga over the anime, it's really weird depending on what you prefer. But I also wanted to ask you about this whole controlled ki thing that's going on in the manga. So, like, what's your take on that in comparison to the anime? Because so far, in the anime, Vegeta told Goku when they were in the Room of Spirit and Time that they're almost reaching their peak of what is Super Saiyan Blue, and thus far we haven't really seen the utilization of a quote-unquote mastered Super Saiyan Blue in the anime, as opposed to right now in the manga when Goku fights Merge Zamasu. So what's your take on like the differences between that, and do you think that plays a critical role? Because as you said off camera, you said that Kaioken is something that allows Goku to adapt on that and using Super Saiyan Blue to its perfected T. So what's your take on that?
Well, what they're doing in the anime is actually does correlate with what's happening in the manga right now.
Right.
The fact that after Goku powered up to such a dramatic degree after being healed by Trunks in the manga, right? Basically, what's happening here is exactly what's happening in the anime. In the anime, they kind of shifted away from the manga, and as a result of that, they're trying to come back to the roots of what a Super Saiyan God was. When Goku first achieved that power, he said that he wasn't satisfied with it because it was something that he could never achieve on his own. So now what they're trying to do is they're backpedaling on the concept of obtaining that kind of power on your own. So what's happening is in the anime you have the Kaioken, which is allowing, because of the ki control, because of the requirements that you need in order to sustain the Kaioken,
Right.
and the fact that it's only compatible with Super Saiyan Blue in the Dragon Ball Super series tells us that it's in fact the Kaioken that's allowing him to master the Super Saiyan Blue concept. You know what I'm saying? It's helping him to do that because of the stress that it puts on the body. It has nothing to do about mastering Kaioken or being a mastered version of the Kaioken anymore. It's more so about them creating a way in the anime that would allow Goku to perfect Super Saiyan Blue, and because of the route that they went, they chose to use the Kaioken. That's why they're throwing the Kaioken in our face so much. Versus the manga, they pretty much stayed to what made sense as far as the storyline is concerned.
Right.
So actually what's happening in the anime is actually correlating very well to the manga. It's still behind, but it is working its way there. Slowly but surely it will eventually catch up to that concept. And once they do, the only difference in the anime manga is going to be when it's revealed, right? In this arc we have it's in the Merge Zamasu arc.
Right.
And the anime you have it in the Tournament of Power. But ironically, the way the time frame that it's being revealed in the manga is usually around the same time before we get some kind of information as to what this new form could potentially be.
Oh, no, of course,
when it comes to leaks and scans and stuff like that. We generally get it from scans from a magazine, or we get it from as a result of the information that's been portrayed in the manga.
And by the way, guys, if you guys are enjoying the live stream so far, make sure to show your love and support by leaving a like down below. Let's go ahead and shoot for 200 likes, because I know we can get there. And hopefully enough, Emish will take off his shirt at 200 likes. But going back to what you just said, with the whole mastered Kaioken thing, because if you're looking at the chat right now, people are saying that Kaioken can't be mastered, like Raging. There are other people saying that Kaioken could be something to where it could be adapted. But I wanted to get your take. I wanted to get your take on this unknown form, whatever this might be, because oddly enough, whatever it is, Goku's gonna bring the firepower, but you know, can he tap into that regularly? It's quite unknown. But I wanted to get your thoughts, Daz, because I know you're in here as well. What are your thoughts on the whole premise of Goku's God essence from base form to Super Saiyan 2, all the way up into Super Saiyan Blue? Would you agree with what Emish is saying in terms of like? Oh, you would? Okay, so why don't you give your take on this?
Every single point Emish just brought up.
So what's your take on the full premise of what Super Saiyan Blue is, and just your overall thoughts on its full ki control in the manga going up against Merged Zamasu?
Well, as you said, I still find it kind of weird how Goku is still able to compare to Merged Zamasu even after perfecting his ki while as a Super Saiyan Blue. And essentially what I think Super Saiyan Blue is, or know it is, it's just when you apply that godly essence, that God ki to yourself as a Super Saiyan. Like it's the state of being. The God essence, that's where you're not able to be sensed at all, like Emish said.
So do you think that with this new ability that Goku may gain after he fights Jiren, do you think that Goku's going to tap into a similar power to what the gods actually have, rather than it being something similar to what Super Saiyan God is entirely? What do you think about that? Because some people are saying that it's going to be Mystic Goku or Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 100 Goku. What are your thoughts on this? Because if you guys are looking at the chat, people are just throwing in ideas and saying that Kaioken can be mastered, it can't be mastered. Some people think that Zamasu was holding back, as a little ant said, against Goku in the manga. So what's your take on this?
Well, from what Emish and I were talking about yesterday, I truly believe it's Goku. Since they're trying to backpedal on themselves. Because remember back in Battle of Gods when Goku said, I cannot achieve this power on my own, even if I train for like very long. Since they retconned that idea and they're trying to backpedal to where you can achieve this power on your own, I feel as if Goku is going to reach a state of divinity in his base form, just like the gods. Because when you take a look at the gods, they don't rely on any power-ups or transformations to boost their power. They're always in their base. They're perfected. So I feel like Goku is gonna do something similar to Mystic.
So you're saying that he is going to reach a state of divinity similar to Beerus, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Why is it you feel that way, though? Like, why is it you feel like it's going to be that level of, like, power in comparison to what Goku may achieve?
Okay, so when you look at the gods, and, note that I said that the gods, they're always in their base form, always in a constant state of divinity, correct?
Right, yeah,
So hold on to that. Now, when you look at the Kaioshin and what they did with Gohan, the Mystic, it's Gohan's base, but he's able to tap into all of his latent potential and all of the power he has already in his base form without the need to transform or power up, and that's godly inspired, right? Now, when you look at the training with the angels, the ones who trained the gods of destruction to assume their role, they trained the gods of destruction in their base forms to perfect themselves. Because as we said, until you overcome your weaknesses and learn to move your body, like make your body move without having to think, you'll be able to overcome any danger. And ironically, Goku and Vegeta are training with those same beings. So I see a similarity between the Kaioshin's training and the Angels training.
So you really feel as if Goku, because that's the thing, in the anime, Vegeta made it perfectly clear that they're going to reach the highest peak that they could in the Room of Spirit and Time.
Because when you look at the training, Whis allowed them to perfect their innate ki control and achieve tranquility, which is why they're so strong in their base forms now. As Emish said, the longer you train in your base form, the stronger your overall forms will become.
But I was going to ask you guys prior to this, why is it that you guys feel that Whis wanted them to train only in their base forms? Because the only thing I can get out of this is the fact that Whis told them both, try not to let your ki pour out. Because when they were fighting, all of their ki was pouring out, in which he even told them that was one of your biggest flaws, the fact that you're allowing your ki to just pour out of your body. And now in the manga chapter, we see that Goku has embedded all of his god ki in his body that makes him last very long in terms of combat. So like, why is it that you guys feel they needed to train under base forms first before even doing anything with, you know, Super Saiyan Blue?
It's because when you think about it, instead of transforming and wasting lots of ki in order to defeat your opponent, because it's one thing when you have a whole bunch of ki, but you don't know how to manipulate it and use it to your advantage. So what Whis' training is doing is teaching them to conserve their ki, utilize it in a way where it's of higher quality. That's the whole purpose of Whis' training.
And also, if you look at the chat, someone just said Whis didn't want them to train in their Super Saiyan forms so it can help push them, in which to an extent I agree, because in order for you to, you know, truly increase your power, you're gonna have to level up step by step and allowing your body to adapt to the ki that's pouring out. And I do want to say shout outs to Emud for being in the stream. Thank you so much for being here, man. I need to talk to you more about Dragon Ball Unreal if you can on Twitter. Check him out, guys. He's the creator of Dragon Ball Unreal. But going back to what we just said, so Emish, what do you think the next level is going to be in the state of divinity, as Daz just pointed out? Because do you think that it is going to be a similar power to Beerus or the other Hakaisen in the fact that Goku's finally going to have a power equal to, or if not greater than them? Or is it going to be just another step to unlocking just a different variation of what Super Saiyan Blue is now?
Well, first, before we even like dive that deep into, I think it's important to understand the concept of what created this whole mess in Dragon Ball Super to begin with, right? So just like I mentioned in the beginning of the stream, where people ran with the concept of base Goku God Essence, Super Saiyan Goku God Essence, right? Right. The God Essence was never utilized after Battle of the Gods. That's why it was retconned. Okay, once again, I'm going to mention it again for those of you guys who just joined the stream now. That's why 17 wasn't enough. Could stand up to Goku at Super Saiyan 1. That's why Super Saiyan 2 wasn't enough to put Gohan down. And we've seen this numerous amounts of times, because Super Saiyan Blue, not only are they marketing it to that extent because that's the new standard in Dragon Ball Super, but marketing aspect aside, the Super Saiyan Blue, the pros of it offers so much more. And obviously, if going into an arc that is based on surpassing your limits, don't you think it would be more plausible for Goku to continuously use Super Saiyan Blue more often than anything else, despite who he's fighting? So it's important to understand, if we look at the hyperbolic time chamber, they can move more freely in the hyperbolic time chamber when they're powered up, when their ki is leaking all over the place. But the minute they went in to train with Whis, and Beerus told Whis to throw them to that place, which was in Whis' staff, they powered up and they couldn't even move their fingers. But the minute they inhaled all the ki inside themselves and kept it from leaking out, they were able to move freely. This alone is a clear indication between the difference between Super Saiyan Blue, what we know as God Ki in terms of the mortals inhabiting that power and only borrowing it by the way, because they're not in a constant state of divinity, right? Because if they were, they would have been able to move freely in that dimension to begin with.
And see, that goes back to what you said, because someone just asked you a question directly. And by the way, guys, we're almost at 200 likes. If you guys are enjoying this, slap a like on the video. Now, someone just said, his name is CHB Studios. He said, no matter how you try to explain it, Super is effing with the power levels. How the he said, how the F can Goku be this weak? Blue form is way more powerful than this. So if you guys would want to answer his question as to why he feels Super Saiyan Blue is so weak, what do you guys think?
He's misunderstanding.
He's misunderstanding. What is he misunderstanding exactly?
It's because, like Emish said, we were stuck with the preconceived idea that Goku in his base form was as strong as he was against Beerus as a Super Saiyan God. But the thing is that since that was retconned, he's now believing that we're saying Goku is, weak and that the scaling is all messed up now. But we're not saying that.
But he's not weak. That's the thing, right?
Exactly.
He's not weak.
The main reason why he's not is because, as Emish and I said, they've been training with Whis to improve themselves in their base. Because when Goku learned to perfect his innate ki control and achieve tranquility, which means a calm mind, his overall performance in his base form is now at a higher level, because the quality in his base form, he's utilizing his base form to a higher quality than before. So even without the God Essence, Goku's still pretty strong because of that. So Goku's not weak right now, bro.
Ergo, why in his fight with Gohan, even after Gohan powered up while he was in his base, Goku never had to do that, and he was still able to match Gohan.
See, Real Jaden just asked, they never explained God Ki. The only thing we know about it is that it can't be sensed by ordinary mortals. So, are there any other features to this form? What do you guys think?
Should I answer that, Emish, since I have a
No, go
whole.
ahead, Daz, if you want to answer.
Okay, so this is how I see godly key working, but based on some of the stuff
And
we've
keep
seen
in
in
mind,
Super,
God key and normal key are two very different
yeah,
things.
they're two
Very
different types of
different.
key. But how I see godly key working is that since you have to perfect your innate key control and have a calm mind to tap into it, when you utilize godly key, it doesn't multiply your power or add to your power. It's because that's not what key does.
Right.
Since okay, there's two tiers. There's the mortal tier and the godly tier based on Goku when he said he cannot reach his power on his own. So that means even if Goku powers up in his base form and powers up, he will never pass into the godly tier. But as soon as he uses godly key, he takes his power and puts it in that tier, which scales his power much higher, because his power is now in the godly tier rather than the mortal tier.
Right.
Mortal tier. But as Emish said, since they're mortals only borrowing the power, they're not in that constant state of divinity. So it's only temporary.
So
yeah.
someone just also pointed out, well, if Emish wants to answer first before anything else, Emish, do you have anything to add on to that?
Well, it's essentially what he said. And for the power scalers out there, because I know people love numbers. I'm not sure why they do that. You have to ask yourself, first of all, how would you give a numeric value to something that cannot be sensed to begin with, right?
And you're applying
in this
that
case,
to power scaling, correct?
right? Because someone asked a question about, oh, power scaling is messed up. How does God key? How can we explain God key? Well, just like Daz mentioned, and we've mentioned numerous times on our channel before and on the Discord, the quality is what they're trying to portray is, if you look at it deep enough and if you understand the concept, the scaling is no longer effed up anymore. What they're doing is they're fixing the atrocity that's happened in Dragon Ball Super as a result of incorporating the Super Saiyan God concept. So basically, in a nutshell, to give you a numeric value, you can throw any number. You could say a God key of 5. Like Daz in his writing, he used God key of 9,000, for example. So I'll reference that. So a God key of 9,000 and Super Saiyan Blue. And this is, again, that's why I said there's 3 different tiers. There's the Mortal Key, for example, Goku in his base Super Saiyan 1, 2, or 3. Then there's Super Saiyan Blue. And then above that is where you step into pure divinity. For example, something that you have all the freaking time.
Beerus,
right.
Well, I don't want to talk about the angels because I think the angels are a separate tier.
No, the angels I think are on an entirely different level.
I would say the Hakaishin. It stops there because the storyline is aiming towards Beerus wanting a rematch.
Do you think realistically it stops there? Like, do you think the gods of destruction are the measuring stick to what is of Dragon Ball Super right now? Because it's kind of far-fetched to have Goku and Vegeta surpass them, even going that into the gods, into the angels realm, because that just seems a little too unrealistic. But as of right now, I agree. I think that it should be the angels. But do you think it's realistic that Goku and or Vegeta, if not both or either one of them, can surpass the gods at a certain point?
No, because here's why. No, because the gods were once mortals themselves. That position was handed to them. Yeah. So if something that you can achieve, despite where, and this is based on the way they're portraying the story specifically for Goku at this point. So we know for a fact that Beerus wants Goku to reach a certain level of power so he can have a fight with him, right? And even
almost
as a Super
300
Saiyan Blue,
likes, guys, come on, we can get there.
And even as a Super Saiyan Blue, that reference has never been brought up, other than Beerus yet again constantly telling Whis to continue to train Goku, and also Vegeta also tagging along and still willing to train despite them having stated that we're reaching our peak. So what's the point of training if you're already close to reaching your peak? We know, and then ergo the concept for breaking your limits, the limit break survivor, all of this limit break stuff was introduced into the series. But going back to what I was saying, if we threw a numeric value at God Key and said, let's say 9,000, right? And you put Super Saiyan Blue at, let's say 30% of his power is a God Key of 9,000. And you put him up against Android 17, just like we did in the series. Android 17, theoretically, which makes sense if you want to use a numeric value, which I don't recommend, but if you want to use a numeric value, he would have to have his own base key of 900,000 to be able to at least compete with it.
Correct?
But at the end of the day, the difference overall will always be the quality of what you have, and that's what they're trying to portray in this. That's why they introduced this new tier of power. That the quality, despite how strong you are as a mortal, Zamasu is a perfect example of that, right? Despite how strong you are as a mortal, right? you should never be able to reach the power of the gods. See, every arc, and we did a video about this, and I kept saying every arc is leading into the next and very next stepping stone that allows Goku to reach a new pinnacle of power.
And Darren Evans just even said Super Saiyan only amplifies the original power of a mortal, that being Super Saiyans 1, 2, and 3.
Exactly.
As opposed to someone else just said Super Saiyan Blue doesn't have a multiplier. Would you agree in saying that Super Saiyan Blue does not have a
Well, we never said it had a multiplier.
But do you think it does in terms of like its essence?
The only multiplier that they get from quote unquote SS Blue is from Super Saiyan, which is times 50, because all you're doing as a Super Saiyan Blue is applying that God essence, ergo godly key, to yourself. That's why I said your power is scaled much higher, because godly key is of a much higher quality than mortal key.
Right, and when you hold on to that thought, it's no wonder why Goku, at whatever percentage of his Super Saiyan Blue power he was using, was able to allow Krillin to go up against him for like a split second. And after that, his hands were freaking shaking. That would not have happened. I really doubt that, because we've never seen that kind of it's a reference to what happens as when you go up against a god tier character, right? Exactly. Or someone breaking that limit. Like your body, it goes into shock. Another example is Android 17. They were both holding back. But if Goku at 40% was a 9,000 had a power level of 9,000 in terms of God Key, Android 17 would have to have a power level of 900,000. So if Goku bumped it up another 10%, Android 17 would have to bump it up another 100% to even match him. Yeah, that's the difference, because the quality, the scaling, that's how you scale something that cannot be sensed based on using common knowledge.
I personally want to say, I want to thank all 560 of you guys for being in here. If you guys have any questions in comparison to what Super Saiyan Blue is, if you guys feel differently as to what Daz and Emish are talking about, go on ahead and just post your comments in the chat. Right, we're gonna try to answer as many questions as possible, because the topic of this video is talking about Goku's divinity, if he's going to achieve a power very similar to Beerus, if of course right now, based on what's being shown in the manga, if Goku has the ability to also master Super Saiyan Blue. And of course, if you guys are enjoying this, leave a like on the video. Let's try to shoot for 300 likes. So going back to what you just said, I think that, do you think, well a couple people mentioned it in the chat, going back to Goku's godly essence and having everything turn out the way it did in the manga and stuff, what about Jiren? Because a lot of people are saying in the chat that Jiren is going to compete against Super Saiyan Blue, if not besting Super Saiyan Blue in all aspects, forcing Goku to achieve a higher power. So with that being said, where do you put Jiren in all of this, having to measure his power? Because some people are saying, well, he may have God Ki, he may not have God Ki. Whoa. And in your opinions, where would you guys scale Jiren?
It's kind of tricky to do that, because Toppo was the only one confirmed to have been training to assume the god of destruction role. So
it's easy. Just look at you can compare Jiren to Gohan at this point.
Oh yeah, really? Why
the way they both, Jiren, from what we've seen from Jiren and Gohan, he essentially trained in the same way. The meditating has a big factor. It actually confirms as to why Gohan was able to become so freakishly strong in such a short amount of time. Right. You can reference Jiren to what Gohan was able to do. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. When you pay close attention to the way they're portraying the steps that they're taking, you can come to the conclusion that power scaling is not fucked up. It's actually making some kind of sense. They just did a bad job at explaining it to you guys. See, the thing is, like, for example, when Super Saiyan Rage came out, it took like 2-3 weeks before we even got an explanation as to what it was. But the same thing happened with the Battle of Gods arc. People saw that he absorbed the Super Saiyan God powers in his Super Saiyan form, was still able to fight Beerus, and they ran with it even after accepting the fact that the whole movie was retconned. Not just the 10% Beerus, not just the 100% Beerus thing, but the entire movie was retconned. That's why they introduced the series, and that's why Super Saiyan Blue was born. But in the manga, Vegeta is able to cycle between Super Saiyan God, which is the red one, and Super Saiyan Blue. The same thing they're doing in the anime. They're trying to match up with the manga with different arcs, and they're backpedaling, and they're giving Goku an opportunity to achieve this power, just like he talked about in the Battle of Gods arc, right? To achieve this power on his own. Ergo, Super Saiyan God with the fire aura is what you look like based on the ritual. But basically what we see on the intro, the new intro now, is what you would look like if you attain this power on your own.
Because
to compare,
as I said before, the gods are always in their base forms. They're perfected.
Right.
Now Amir just pointed out, he said, did you guys notice in the last episode when Goku transforms, there is a red kind of thing blowing off with Goku's aura? What is this? Please answer. I don't think that's anything major. I think that's the Kaioken Super Saiyan Blue.
Yeah, it was just a
I don't think that that's any proof that Goku taps into something more. My estimate is that I think that, similar to what you guys said, Jiren is going to... It's tricky to compare Jiren now because we don't know what kind of training he does other than meditating, but we've seen before, even with meditation, someone like Piccolo has gotten extremely powerful just by doing his own thing on the side. But my question to you is... Oh, no, go ahead, Amish.
If we look at ever since Goku and Vegeta have started training under Whis and keeping their ki within themselves and training that way, they've been able to grow substantially faster than they ever have before. If Jiren was capable of understanding this already without needing the assistance of angels, see, because Saiyans as a race, they were always so used to flaunting and throwing their power around, so it's only natural that they allowed their ki to leak to let other people sense how strong they've become. They were show-offs. Saiyans have always been that way. Right? Yep. They love battle. Jiren doesn't have to, these other characters don't have to follow that specific trait. They can be much smarter the way Piccolo was. Think of what Piccolo could be capable of if they utilize his potential to not only merge with other Namekians, but train to that extent while at the same time keeping his ki inside himself. That's why he taught it to Gohan, because Gohan had a much more Latin power in him already. It was already tapped into by the other Kai. All Piccolo needed to do was to show him that again. Ergo, why the concept of Ultimate Gohan versus Super Saiyan Blue Goku can be compared at this time, and why the Kaioken was necessary not just to beat Gohan, but to completely stop him.
But also, Gohan was asking for Goku to tap into his real power. Yeah, even though I disagree, because I still think that as of right now, the highest we've ever seen Goku go was when he used Kaioken times 10 against Hit, not just standard Kaioken. But I want to point out one guy in the chat that keeps on spamming the same comment. That is God of Flames. He says, guys, there will be no form in the opening. Says Zeno-sama even gets excited because when Universe 7 wins, Goku's going to wish back the other universes. To rebuttal against that comment, we don't know if it is a new form. We can only go based off the assumption that it is going to be a new form, given the fact that right now, Super Saiyan Blue is the default form for Goku and Vegeta in Dragon Ball. Because how often do we see these guys use Super Saiyan as opposed to Super Saiyan Blue? It's kind of hard to say, but I also wanted to ask you guys, because there's so many people asking about Jiren. My question to the both of you is, does he have God Ki? Or does he have something similar to either what Goku has or Toppo has for him to even be comparable to Goku?
I don't think he has God Ki.
No? Alright, so Dad
I just think because of his meditation, he's able to perform at a higher level in his base form. So, unlike the Saiyans, which is what Emish said.
Okay, so what about you, Emish? Do you think that he possesses some, divinitive ki that also can be comparable to Super Saiyan Blue in his own respect? Or do you think he just doesn't have that at all?
We're talking about Jiren?
Yeah,
if he has godly ki or not.
Okay, well, when we incorporate, when I just pretty much said that the anime is slowly but surely, it's not the manga that's behind, it's the actual anime that's behind. We just hit
300 likes. Emish, take off your shirt now. If we can get to 400 likes, on this live stream, Emish will take off his pants. Everyone's gonna take off their pants in the live stream. Hashtag no pants.
It is pretty hot in here too.
It is pretty hot.
Anyway,
spin that fire.
It's actually, but after this information, and if you accept it and you think about it and you give it a chance to understand everything from every angle, and you throw everything at it and you can't find the flaw, you begin to understand that it's not the manga that's behind, it's actually the anime. So the anime is actually trying to catch up to what the manga, because the manga is very direct in the information that it gives you. It tells you everything straight up. It rarely ever misleads you to an extent where you just start thinking, you come on YouTube and you start asking crazy questions, right? So, like I said, if Jiren is equivalent in his overall ki, right, to what Goku has as a Super Saiyan Blue, then there's no argument there. There's no surprise. Ergo, why 17 can compete with Goku at whatever percentage of power he's using. Ergo, why Gohan can compete with Goku at whatever percentage of power he's using. And ergo, only why, as to why there needs to be a reason that Goku should be able to break his limits, ironically around the same time he's about to do it in the manga. You know what I'm saying? So everything is tying into one another. If I could, I just want to answer a statement by Kendrick Baldwin TV. He says Super Saiyan Blue has to have some kind of multiplier, or becoming a god in general have to have some kind of multiplier. Otherwise, Goku shouldn't have been able to fight Beerus. See, but you're holding on, and Kendrick, good question, but you're holding on to that thought by basically, when you say that, you're disregarding the retcon that was Battle of Gods. Exactly. So look at it this way. Just look at it this way. That fight with Beerus never happened. And until it happens again, then you can officially ask those questions.
The scaling for that was busted because the whole 10, 15
because
years
of the
gone.
Right, so because of the scaling. So now we could, and that's why they've never been compared to each other ever again after that. If anything, Beerus still talks down to Goku and still clearly makes it clear that I'm still superior to you in every single way, despite how much stronger you're getting at this point, because I have a overall higher quality of being, higher quality of life, and I'm divine. and he's divine.
He's always in that state, that other tier, while Goku's still immortal within the mold.
Right. So if anybody ever asks you for the multiplier and then references the fight against Beerus, yes, I understand that in the anime they continued with it, but they had no choice. That's why Super Saiyan Blue was born, to retcon Super Saiyan God. And now little by little they're trying to backpedal and give Goku the ability to obtain that power on his own, which is ironically what he always wanted to do since the beginning of Dragon Ball Super, and ironically what Beerus wants him to do at this point.
Because Beerus, since he's always on that tier, he has nobody to fight. He's above everything.
Someone just pointed out in saying that Jiren is most likely like Hit. We don't know if he possesses God Ki or not, but if he forces Goku to use Blue, then this may be almost a repeat of Goku versus Hit. Would you guys agree or disagree with that statement?
That's essentially the theme.
Okay,
I don't see Jiren being another Hit.
But the difference between Jiren and Hit is the fact that Hit had an ability that can keep up with Super Saiyan Blue, not in terms of power, but in terms of like technique, because the technique was able to overthrow the power that someone like Vegeta had. Because we can argue and say that Vegeta was stronger than Hit during that time, right when they fought, except the only thing that gave Hit the advantage was the fact that he was able to time skip.
All right, CHB Studio says Jiren is not only strong because it's meditation. We didn't say that. We said this is what allows him to benefit more from his training, and that's why he's been able to catch up to the likes of Goku. That's what we're saying. All right, so we only saw a little snip. Again, based on training alone, based on what we just got from Gohan, you can confirm the fact that this is why Jiren is going to be overwhelmingly powerful, because more than likely they're not going to explain it in the actual anime. That's why you can take Gohan's concept of meditation and why he's so strong and compare that to Jiren.
Holy crap, man! We have 700 hardcore Dragon Ball fans in this live stream.
and then he follows up and says, remember that Toppo was almost equal with Goku, but then you're forgetting that Toppo is next in line to be a Hakaishin someday, so he benefits from the same training that Goku was going through.
And we don't even know what kind of training Toppo did. I mean, it's impressive to see him. First of all, it's really impressive to see him withstand the Super Saiyan Blue Kamehameha from such a close range. And then the only thing that triggered him after was the fact that his suit was ripped. And even at that very point, he vowed to destroy Goku, in which he began to power up, and Goku vowed to break his limit, and then the Daishinkan stopped it because, quote unquote, save it for the tournament.
Right. The minute he powered up into Kaioken, that's when they decided to stop. Not only because it was not only because it was airing towards the end of the episode. It's not because every episode is 23 minutes and they were 19 minutes in or something like that. But it's more so to indicate to you, the fan, that okay, this is enough. You got to run with it and just wait to see what happens.
Now Joshua Sanchez says that Goku's new form is Kaioken mastered, dominated without any repercussions to the body. What do you guys think?
Okay. When you think about Kaioken, it was never intended to be something to use for long periods of time. It was only meant to be a temporary boost in power to boost you above your opponent. That's all it was. But it's not It's not permanent. It's temporary.
So
now, okay, and look at it this way. If we're talking about the concept of mastering your
shit,
team.
Wait a minute, Amish, I don't mean to cut you off, but shout outs to Rich Shatwell for his 30th birthday, bro. Happy birthday to you. Thank you for being in the live stream and talking to us.
Oh, Rich.
Who just started saying happy birthday?
Yeah, happy birthday, bro.
Happy birthday, man.
But damn, so you kind of just lost me about.
You were talking about mastery of ki. There, you started from there.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. So they're pushing that concept very heavily on Goku and Vegeta, especially Goku at this point, right?
Right.
If it's Kaioken mastered, right? What do you? Okay, to you, I have to ask you what the master Kaioken is to you, because it can't be a form. It was never designed to be something to utilize permanently. And as a result of that, the Kaioken doesn't permanently increase your power. That's why Goku at Super Saiyan Blue specifically said, because of the perfect ki control that's required, or the ki control that's required to maintain Super Saiyan Blue, that's why Kaioken is a perfect mix for that. So it's not Kaioken mastered, it's instead because of the requirements of that's needed to maintain the Kaioken, to tap into the Kaioken and maintain it without having to worry so much about the drawbacks, is what's allowing Goku to perfect Super Saiyan Blue, not the Kaioken.
Exactly.
That's what you gotta understand.
And you have to understand in Kaioken, since it's not a transformation, it doesn't transform your body to withstand the power either.
And thus we saw that with Kaioken times 10, because Kaioken times 10 wrecked Goku's body to the point where, do you guys remember when, like, after he powered down, his body was like, for what was it? I forgot how many weeks he was like in that state where he couldn't even fly correctly. So let's say, for example, let's say hypothetically speaking, Goku does have a higher variation of Kaioken. what justice does that do for not only his body, but for the state of Super Saiyan Blue? That doesn't really increase the status of Super Saiyan Blue. It only increases the amount of ki being poured out for like that short time, because as we saw with Kaioken times 10, Goku sets a hit, I'm able to, you know, compete against your time skip. I'm faster than your time skip. He's stronger. That may be granted, and Hit was able to even combat that in adapting to Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 10. But the reason why I don't think it's going to be a Kaioken technique is because it will do no justice for the Super Saiyan Blue form. I hate to be that guy to say, oh yeah, there should be a new form, because as of right now, who's to really say if there should or shouldn't be? But since everyone keeps bringing up Jiren, and people are saying that for his power to be as divine as Super Saiyan Blue, for him to give Goku a good enough fight, would you guys agree in saying that as of right now, just minus the fact of Goku, would you say that Jiren is comparable to someone like Vegeta, or would you disagree on that? Not basing Goku and his new powers, because we don't know anything about that yet.
Do you want me to answer, or you want to go, Des?
I'll go with you, Amish.
You can go first. Yeah, you go.
All right.
First.
So just like I said, correlating to the manga, Goku is mastering Super Saiyan Blue in his fight with Merge Zamasu. In my opinion, that's a more likely and worthy opponent to master this against. You know what I'm saying? To me.
Right.
I think Merge Zamasu was the perfect person to master that against. But in the anime, they kind of said, fuck it, we're going to give it to Trunks because, well, what's the point of bringing it back? We got to give him the Mafuba, we got to give him the Genki Dama Spirit Sword, all this other crazy stuff, right?
They changed all that around, yeah.
But in the manga, they pushed Goku to that limit where he mastered it. In the anime, they're using Jiren to do this. They're using a more drastic scenario that will push Goku to his limits and push him in the corner psychologically, because his universe is on the line. There's no more, and because they made this decision now, right? I don't want to say now like today, but I'm saying as of recently, look what all the changes they made. That could pertain as to why they swapped out Jiren and Toppo. That could pertain as to why they introduced 2 female Saiyans instead of 1. Everything, little by little, everything is piecing together at a certain pace. Also, why they reintroduced Golden Frieza to shut up, to actually retcon ROF, if anything. Just like they retcon Battle of Gods. Why not retcon Resurrection F as well by introducing Golden Frieza into the actual tournament, right? And then showing you that even though he's very powerful, he's still nowhere near what Goku is at this point.
Oh no, absolutely not. Like right now, ever since ROF, like Goku and Vegeta have far exceeded Frieza.
Exactly.
Like
it's
because
like
on a biblical scale.
Exactly. It goes back to what Emish and I said about their training in base form. They are able to perform at a much higher level in their base.
So I want to ask you guys.
Control.
I want to ask you guys to watch that.
Hold on. But it's unlike Frieza, he's just flaunting his ki as well as the Saiyans did before they got trained.
Here's something very interesting. Someone just pointed out, so where would you rank the fighters now in numerical order from top to bottom? I think it's easy to say that Goku's number 1. I mean, that's already...
Vegeta 2, Gohan.
And then Gohan. And then 17.
So, all right, so you guys are saying that Gohan, as of now, is above 17 and Frieza?
Yes.
Why is that? Because I know there are going to be some people in here that are going to disagree.
Gotta talk about Mystic now.
Because remember the concept of what was with Golden Frieza. Even though ROF was some time ago, just for that moment being, Frieza was stronger than Goku until he burned out. But comparing that to what we see now with Gohan, why is it that you put Gohan above 17 and Frieza, in your opinions? And if anyone else has something different to add on here, like I said before, guys, go ahead and drop your comments. We're going to try to answer you guys as much as we can. 700 of you guys in here. Thank you all so much for watching. If you guys are enjoying this, make sure to leave a like down below. Let's go ahead and shoot for 500 likes. So going back to what I just said, why Gohan above Frieza and 17 in your opinions? Why?
Well, if anybody, to those of you who've been here since the beginning of the stream, it would pretty much make it would make a lot more sense as to why Gohan would be able to edge out. And I'm being nice when I say edge. 17 and Frieza. Frieza, really? We just had a fight with Gohan and Goku. We just had that. The Kaioken, and please, and this is what this is what really gets like where people really go on the wrong foot, and this is why power scaling it is the way it is. When people automatically say that Gohan was begging Goku to go at his Super Saiyan Blue form, it has nothing to do with beg. It's a respect. It's just a respect. Obviously, Gohan quickly adapted to himself when he was fighting against Super Saiyan 2 Goku. Yes, people will say that Super Saiyan 2 Goku was giving Gohan work. That's because of Goku's skill set as a fighter. Guys, you didn't maybe you didn't catch this. What did he do? The Kamehameha wave clash, right? He told Gohan to unleash more power. The same thing Krillin did in his fight with Gohan. What's the matter? You can't fight me at full strength? The minute Gohan fought him at full strength, Krillin undercutted him and solar flared him in the face. The same thing Goku did in the episode. What they're trying to portray is the lessons that Goku has learned fighting Buu, 17, and Krillin. Once again, the Ki Blast, the barrage of Ki Blast that Goku shot at Gohan. It blinded his vision. The same way the same way Majin Buu did to Goku, and he ringed him out.
Right.
Goku did the same exact thing. That's all that was. So don't misunderstand that concept. If you guys missed that, it's okay.
See,
because
what I see in the chat right now is most people are putting 17 above Gohan for the only reason being that he was able to not only tank Goku's Kamehameha, but the reason why he stopped the fight was because he didn't want the environment to be damaged. Otherwise, people are making the argument and saying that if that wasn't 17's only flaw in that episode was worrying about the animals in the forest, then 17 would have easily been able to compete with Super Saiyan Blue, given the idea that it's been about, 10 years ever since, their encounter, ever since that time period where the androids came about. So he's been doing 10 years of training, but people are saying that 17 would be above Gohan based on what we saw.
That goes right back to what we said about the quality of Godly Ki.
Right.
And if Goku was to increase his power again, 17 wouldn't be able to do anything about it. He'd have to exert himself at a much higher level than Goku to just match Goku in terms of strength and everything. It's because Goku's ki is at a much higher quality, so he's able to utilize it at a much more potent level than 17. Right. Without having to increase his power too much.
Right. So if you're still, even after we covered that, and you're still saying Gohan is placed 5th in the whole team, then you're not paying attention. It's just that simple. I don't mean to sound like a dick or anything. It's just you're not paying attention.
So let me ask you both personally, because in the manga so far, in case you guys are unaware, we have Dragon Ball Super manga chapter number 24 explaining to us that Goku has quote-unquote controlled the full extent of what Super Saiyan Blue is within his body to fight longer. So I wanted to ask you guys, in the anime, are we going to see Goku and or Vegeta do the exact same thing in the tournament, that being able to fully master the ki control that Super Saiyan Blue emits from the body? Or do you think that they're only going to stick with that in the terms of the manga, and we're going to see something else between the two? Because having to look at Goku will forever be Goku. But looking at Vegeta, right, having to look at where he stands in terms of stamina and in terms of ki manipulation, having to control his power, where do you see Vegeta in all of this? Because right now, it's safe to say that Goku is higher in terms of scaling, but what about Vegeta? Do you see him, mastering the ki control power? Do you see him also having a similar limit breaker in the future? Because once Goku does break past his limits, I don't think it's safe to say that Vegeta will be down in terms of catching up. So do you think Vegeta could potentially catch up, given the fact that prior to Goku arriving to Whis' world or Beerus' world, Vegeta was ahead by 6 months. He was training for 6 months, and just like that, Goku caught up. So where do you see Vegeta in all of this in terms of what he can do with his Super Saiyan Blue ability, and if he can ever catch up to Goku once this whole limit breaker thing happens?
I don't see them actually kind of marketing Vegeta in any way at this point.
Really?
I mean, like I said, I'm not saying he won't get anything new. Obviously, they have to give him something that's explicit to him, right? Or at least in a way where he could potentially catch up. I will say though, Vegeta, what he has done better, which is also in correlation to the manga and anime. In the manga, he trained himself to be a better, much more durable. He was able to cycle between Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue. In the anime, he was actually doing the same thing, minus the Super Saiyan God concept. Ergo, why when they returned to the Future Trunks' timeline, he was very easily able to body black. But the way they had scripted everything was to allow Trunks to be the savior of that timeline. That's why. Right. That's why Vegeta wasn't able to finish the job. Could he have finished the job? I'm willing to bet he could have taken out Goku Black at that point. But what they did was instead, they allowed Goku Black to continue to grow through anger, supposedly, which is kind of contradictory to perfect ki control as a god. So you have to question Goku Black's concept and not Vegeta at this point. You have to question the fact that why he was able to get so angry and still grow. And don't say because he's a Saiyan. It has nothing to do with that. He had a Saiyan's body, but the Saiyan's body only responds through anger if the soul of that person is still a Saiyan. So you can no longer apply that rule to the idea. But what they're doing is they're correlating the manga and the anime little by little. In the anime, Vegeta is the only one training in the hyperbolic time chamber at this point, which is, in my opinion, I feel like he deserves more. I don't know what the heck they're doing with Vegeta at this point. But obviously the goal was to portray what this mastery of Super Saiyan Blue is. Whether they classify it as a new form, whether they classify it as something temporary, and then, which in my opinion, I think it should be temporary, and then from then on, after the tournament, he should have to train. Therefore, they could have a totally new arc based on him reaching a new milestone, but still having to go so far to catch up to the likes of Beerus, and then potentially ending it with a rematch, so to speak.
What do you?
And this kind of puts the whole concept of Vegito to rest as well.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Daz, what do you think about Vegeta's concept here? Because seeing as how he dominated Black when he came back, especially in the manga when he burst right through the hyperbolic time chamber, when he came back like an entirely different person, being compared to Super Saiyan Rose during that time, where do you see Vegeta going into this tournament, and how would you explain his run with Super Saiyan Blue right now? Like, do you see him having, you know, mastered ki control? Do you see him utilizing Super Saiyan Blue better than Goku during this tournament, or do you think he's just going to be like another throwaway character?
I think that he's gonna have a better mindset going into the tournament than Goku.
Really? Why is that?
Because as we've seen with Krillin and all that stuff, Goku, he's just been under the idea of, oh, power, I have to increase my power and stuff.
Right.
But Vegeta, he's not always like that. He's a genius. He knows how to he calms himself. He thinks more than Goku does. So I see Vegeta performing a bit better until Goku realizes his flaw. So yeah, which ultimately leads to his limit break thing.
John Salka or Salsa says that's actually not true. Luis makes a comment about how they're just about even after the 6 months. Okay,
well, that was at that time.
Right, he made the comments, but that was around what time was this? You know what I'm saying? Because now, if we're gonna go by just based on what people say, then okay, didn't Vado say that Frost was the best hand-to-hand combat fighter in Universe 6? No, she said that, right? Didn't she say that? So then where does that put Hit? Automatically, you classify Hit as an assassin. You put him on a different tier of power, not a tier of being, but a different tier of power, right? You no longer classify Hit as a fighter at that point.
I don't get where everyone's coming out with this whole Gohan didn't even use 9% of his power against Super Saiyan 2 Goku.
Yeah, I'm not.
What do you talk like? Where'd you get the 9% from? That's totally irrelevant, man.
This is where the power scaling is messed up, because they're still sticking with the whole God essence concept.
Right.
And they're not letting go of it.
Right.
We've been programmed to think God essence, you know, but we didn't let go of it. We still held on to something that was retconned. So it's like, where do we go from here? Okay, exactly. Now you can clearly say that, oh, now it makes sense.
That's why the power scaling is so hard to do when you incorporate God essence as of now.
Right. That's why, because Goku's still immortal. He's still immortal, right? Borrowing the concept of God Ki, using it to tap into it, thus allowing him to turn Super Saiyan Blue. That's the only time he cannot be sensed. Every other time he can be sensed. Therefore, it puts him on a comparative level to any mortal. Therefore, any mortal should be able to rival Goku, despite how stronger he becomes. Exactly. It only makes sense that way.
That's
but
when you guys
throw percentages at it, that. Why are you gonna throw a percentage at something that cannot be sensed to begin with?
Right.
For what? For what purpose?
Exactly.
You have to accept the retcon. You have to accept the retcon in its entirety, and then you can throw any number at God Ki, any number you want, and it'll make sense at that point. But the minute you hold on to God essence, say power level is fucked up, and then give it a percentage anyway, based on random math that I'm not sure where you got it from, is. Well, that's where the power living is fucked up. You're ruining it more.
And someone just said that we're underscaling Frieza. The thing about Frieza is, as of right now, he is underskilled, because if you want to put, you know, Golden Frieza in the idea that he hasn't been training while he was down in that cocoon just doing his own thing in the afterlife, and the fact that he comes back and he sees where Goku and Vegeta are now, Goku and Vegeta are easily head and shoulders above what Golden Frieza was in ROF. It would be different if in the actual anime show they allow him to train or something, because we do have only a few hours to go. So in order for you to best get, you know, the best fighters you can, you're gonna have to prep the best way you could, and that's training. We see that with Vegeta. But in terms of underscaling Frieza, you can't compare Golden Frieza to Super Saiyan Blue right now, because Frieza hasn't done anything to train. So it's easy to say that Goku, Vegeta, 17, Skinny Buu, and Gohan are easily above Frieza in terms of power. Well, with the exception of Buu, because, again, we haven't really seen any drastic improvement from him other than his body. But in comparison to Super Saiyan Blue next to Golden Frieza, that's not even a thing, because of the whole, like, you know, pressure of his body and stuff. Like, that's just, it's not even fair to say, I think.
And then incorporate what we said for like the past hour and think about Golden Frieza next to Super Saiyan Blue. It just doesn't work anymore.
Someone actually just put Golden Frieza above 17, and then they're saying this. Then those same people are saying, "Well, 17 forced Goku to go Super Saiyan Blue," and this is fucking like what? How long after Golden Frieza has been killed already? So this is what I'm saying. It's like it's crazy. They contradict themselves, and then they come and they say that we're the ones not understanding anything.
So I wanted to ask you about the limit breaking power and the fact that do you think it's something that Goku can tap into instantly after we see this arc finish? Because the conclusion of this arc is going to occur, you know, sometime this year, whenever it is. But what I wanted to ask you is it going to be something to where Goku can tap into that power regularly, or do you think that Goku's gonna have to do a little bit more research as to what the heck it was that he just did and trying to utilize that power more to his disposal rather than him just tapping into it like he did with Super Saiyan Blue? So is it something that he's going to tap into casually, or is this going to be like a one-time thing to where he's going to do it to fight Jiren and everyone else, and that'll be the end of that? What do you think?
If it's portrayed the way it is in the manga, because in the manga he looks very confident about it. It looks like something that he figured out, right? And he's going to consistently do it. In the anime, because in the anime they have to drag it out, because the manga, it's going to sell no matter what, right? Yeah. But the anime needs to keep people hooked on it because of they have to incorporate so many other factors: the voices, the voice actors, the animations, the overall story, because it's kind of far away from the manga at the same time, right? So, and notice what I said there. I said the anime is far from the manga. Now, I'm not saying the manga is behind. I'm saying the anime is behind with following through with the concept as to what they're trying to achieve. So, in the anime, they would, in my opinion, it would be best to allow him to tap into it, right? Utilize it, not really care about what it is at that point, just understand that he's freaking, you know, he's OP at this point.
I'm strong right now.
Then, right, I'm the, you know, I'm the man right now. I'm Goku. That's it. And then after that, I would say they have to touch up on that to explain what it is. I don't think it's something he should just tap into and keep. I think it's something that, because if the Kaioken is what was responsible for allowing him to master Super Saiyan Blue to this extent, it would only make sense that he would have to train to consistently be able to borrow and utilize that power all the time, thus being on a comparable level in terms of being, and quote me here, I said being, not power, to the likes of Beerus, for example, right? In terms of not ever being able to sense his ki. And someone asked a question about the lifespan and stuff like that before, and I'm gonna just answer your question now. The reason why Beerus is able to live so long is because his actual life is tied to the actual life of the Kaioken. So if that's just what would allow him to actually be able to live for X amount of time. So the fact that
mortals previously,
right? So exactly. So the fact that Goku's able to do this is only meant for story. I don't ever think Goku should be able to beat Beerus like in a fight. But if the story calls for a rematch between the two, this is the way to do it. So power scaling is not fucked up. It's actually making a lot of sense now when you look at it that way. So, and it ties into everything. It ties into the concept of Trunks. It ties into the concept of Murzumasu. It ties into the concept of Goku Black. It ties into everything, and why little by little they're retconning. They already retconned Battle of Gods, and they're about to retcon ROF. Because the scaling there no longer applies, because those are two things based off of movie scripts, off of an hour and a half of content that they have to force in there without any explanations. In the anime, they could explain things and spend 3 episodes explaining it to you. But in the manga, they have to do it right away. That's why the manga appears to be behind the anime, but it's actually vice versa.
What's interesting is Logan said if Goku was only trying to get stronger, he would most likely wouldn't have been looking for team members. He would be training, but I feel as if he already has this new power. He's confident, not stupid. I would have to agree. I think he has this power. He was going to show it against Toppo.
Beerus told him to take responsibility after the tournament was announced.
And remember what he told Beerus.
You will take responsibility.
But also remember what he told Beerus right before, you know, the Daishinkan made the announcement of everything else. He told Beerus, I'm going to show the Omni King and the multiverse, you know, just how powerful I am. Or somewhere along those lines, he quoted to where he said, I'm going to give Zenchan the best fight possible. So
just like in the manga. They kind of just threw this concept out of nowhere.
So would you say he does have this power and that he's just buying time until the tournament actually begins, like Logan said? Or do you think that he's...
No, I'd say he's figuring it out slowly, but as of right now, no.
He doesn't have the power.
No, because just like in the manga.
So wait a minute. So why is he so confident going into each battle, especially the one with Toppo? Because I do think that based on that fight alone, right? I'm fully convinced that he was going to unleash or break past his limits until Daishinkan stopped it.
Personally, I have to say it's just because he's excited right now. He's getting what he wants, to fight strong people. That's
Right.
Goku. He's still a Saiyan at the end of the day.
And
Right. This is not going to be a redo of what happened with the Majin Buu arc when he was like where he just threw Super Saiyan 3 at us out of the blue. Out of the blue. You know, that's not going to happen. Like this is something that they're building up for. Obviously he's portraying himself this way because he clearly understands this is the only way to get the gods' attention and to make sure that they come correct. That's why he purposely showcased the Kaioken against Bergamo. He didn't even have to do that. He was more than capable of
Someone
wrecking
just
Bergamo.
said, do you think Kaioken assisted Goku in tapping into this new power? That's an interesting question.
Yeah, we just confirmed that. Just like in the manga, they're handling it a bit differently. But we see in the manga, if you guys follow it, if you guys haven't checked out chapter 24, check it out. Right, look into the scans and everything. Right, and you're gonna see that the Kaioken hasn't been incorporated yet. But because the way they handled the story in the manga actually ties into the original intent as to where they want Goku to be. In the anime, they didn't do that. They made a lot of switches. The switches indicate that either A, something was wrong, or B, changes need to be made as a result of catching up to the manga. So in my opinion, it was B. Nothing was wrong with the story, but they had to make changes so that way the manga would coincide with what's happening or what's about to happen in the anime, just like it always does. So when you take that into consideration, right, you come to the conclusion that yes, what's happening in the manga, they're using the Kaioken as a means for Goku to perfect Super Saiyan Blue, not to perfect Kaioken.
Because Kaioken, you need to have ki control to utilize it.
And remember, keep in mind, Goku even said that there was a 10% chance of him even maxing it out and dying. He almost died doing that. And even so, and he pushed that to Kaioken times 10. He could have died right then and there, but he succeeded.
It's all connecting when you look at what Goku said about it's still incomplete and everything.
So Randolph Smith says, I disagree, he has the power already. Okay, tell me, when did he achieve this power?
Also, someone just pointed out, Vegeta just pointed out, in saying the fact that Jiren meditates just like Piccolo. He could be a great strategist as well. He may not be a reckless fighter like Toppo. I wouldn't consider Toppo to be a reckless fighter, considering. I mean, well, then again, it's I wouldn't consider him to be reckless. But I do agree. I think that Jiren just looks like one of those guys where I do think that he possesses raw power, raw unmitigated power. I think definitely comparable to Super Saiyan Blue. Whether or not he has God Ki is up in the blue.
And you get it, Alex? See, you just got it. It's because he possesses all of this power. He's able to match the scaling that Super Saiyan Blue applies to Goku.
Of course, but then again, we don't know the backstory of Jiren the Gray. If whether or not he received the same privileges as Goku did, whereas opposed to he was also training with divine beings, because it just seems a little unrealistic that Goku is the only one among all 12 universes to receive such training from divinative beings. I don't think
that's because of Beerus's nature as a fighter, very comparative to Goku, the same way we compare Beerus to Goku.
So you would say that Goku's the only one that had that opportunity to receive such training by such beings?
As a result of Beerus wanting to fight stronger opponents the same way Goku does. Only in that scenario, yes.
Yeah.
So in terms
because
of
Beerus, as the god of destruction, he wants that done. Whis has to make it happen, and that's his job.
Because as we said, since he's always in a divine state, which puts him on the next tier above the mortal tier, he can't fight anybody. He's just above everything in the universe.
Right.
So
he even said in the Battle of Gods arc that
some people
doesn't enjoy being a god of destruction.
Some people just asked, why is it that everyone else, including Gohan 17 and Krillin, were able to best regular base form Super Saiyan?
It's because like we said, he doesn't have the god essence in his base as of right now. The main reason why Goku in his base is so strong is because of Whis' training, helping them to perfect their innate ki control and achieve tranquility. So Goku in his base is able to perform at a much higher level than he was before the training. There you go.
The overall utilization of Mastered Kaioken, I think that I don't see Goku doing it. I don't see Goku achieving the mastery of Kaioken just because of what we saw with Kaioken times 10. Kaioken times 10 was something that tore Goku's body apart. Even while he fought Hit, he said, even with Blue intact, I'm not going to be able to last very long in this form. And thus, we saw the end result when he powered down. He was broken. So I don't think that whatever this is Kaioken exactly. But in terms of in terms of the overall end result, this can go one of many ways. He could achieve the power and be the strongest one there, but there's also a chance of him getting thrown out. Someone just said, is it possible for Jiren and Goku to be ringed out at the same time? What do you think? Throw each other out?
That's always a possibility.
I would love a double ring out.
But that scenario, right, can also portray as to why if they wanted Gohan to be the successor in terms of winning the tournament, it would still make sense. They could still make fans happy, right, by providing Goku with a confirmation as to where he stands now.
Right.
While at the same time giving other fans Gohan to win. So it wouldn't hurt anybody. Like, just because you obtain a new power doesn't mean you have to solo the entire tournament. No, he could still, because it's a tournament format, he can get ringed out. If this wasn't a tournament format, right, then Goku would just end the fight.
He would dance on the dude.
But I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm not saying I want Gohan to be the winner. No, I'm just saying if they did that, it would still be able to be understood from a fan's perspective. Maybe not in the beginning, but from just overall, if you give it time, it'll sink in. So, but just to touch up on your previous question, Alex, that's why all of the gods, when Goku turned Super Saiyan Blue, they were fucking devastated. They were surprised, like, what is going on? Why is this happening? Like they have someone like this.
Why is this mortal close to us? Like, what's happening?
Other than that, only Toppo was the one who was confirmed to be in line to be a potential god of destruction someday. But Goku is not in line to be a god of destruction. He's just training his ass off, right? You see what I'm saying? He's just training with angels as a result of what Beerus wants. So that does make sense if you look at it, just based on Beerus's character. Yeah. No other god seems to be the way Beerus is in terms of wanting to fight someone who is equal to him.
We have
which tells us.
I was gonna say, we have Christian Cruz who says, do you think Vegeta also has something or a trump card for the tournament because of the way he's mocked Goku to train all the time he had, and him going to the hyperbolic time chamber to perfect his powers? Do you think that Vegeta is also gonna have something to trump Goku, or no?
Yeah, I don't know about to trump him. I think but something to definitely set him apart from the rest. Just the way they did in the manga, where he was able to cycle between two different forms of the same concept. Right, they're still rivals, right? That's still very much alive in there. So they have to give him something. Am I gonna sit here and say I figured that out too, or that we figured that out too? No, because I don't know what they're doing with Vegeta, to be honest, at this point. Exactly. So until maybe in this week, when we find out why Vegeta goes to train,
well, he has no choice. I mean, at this point,
no, of course, but he hasn't accepted yet. He hasn't accepted the tournament power thing. So if this is the reason why, if he goes in as a result of finally accepting to join the tournament and finding out what happens, then we can say, okay, from an emotional standpoint, right, Vegeta has a reason to grow and make himself different from Goku. But if it's because he's once again trying to he saw what Gohan can do, he saw what Goku can do against each other, and said, wait, what the fuck is going on here? Now his son is once again rivaling my rival. No, I gotta go train. It just depends, man. There's so much that can play into it. But I think after this week, maybe next week, we'll get more information.
We got Tone Deaf, who said, I totally disagree. Toppo was in the process of being trained to become a god of destruction, which means he was receiving training from divine beings.
It's in his character bios. It's in his character bios. Look at the Toei Animation site. It's in his official bios.
Yeah.
That's why he's with the Vermouth and Kai, whatever his name is.
And that's why Vermouth loves him so much. I mean, that's something that I never understood about his character, is like why he loves the Pride Trooper so much. But someone just asked, why doesn't Goku use Super Saiyan 3 to scale against the other characters? I think the last time we saw Super Saiyan 3 was against Trunks. And that was it.
Yeah.
It's an interesting question.
And he got wrecked. Yeah, he did. But with his fingers. After that, we never saw it again.
He blocked his sword with both fingers, and he just knocked Trunks down into the dirt. Yeah.
Right, because the overall benefits, right, which has been done by the Dragon Ball Z community, the benefits of Dragon Ball Z of Super Saiyan 2 versus Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan 3 doesn't really give you that much over what Super Saiyan 2 originally gives you. And in Super, they're not pushing the concept of Super Saiyans anymore. They're only pushing the concept of up to Super Saiyan 2, right? Goku will test you at a Super Saiyan 1 or 2. After that, he bumps up to Super Saiyan Blue, right? And then he's never gone 100% against anybody he's fought in his sparring match. All they're trying to showcase is his evolution in terms of his skill set. Exactly. That's also at the end of the day. So when you compare a fighter to Goku at Super Saiyan Blue, you have to compare a fighter. You can't just say 17 versus Super Saiyan Blue Goku, because that's what people do. What you're supposed to do is 17 versus Goku. Super Saiyan Blue is just a plus for Goku at this point. His skill set is amazing. Like
And someone just said
Kaioken,
Super Saiyan
Spirit
3.
Bomb.
Someone said Super Saiyan 3 isn't a necessity because it's an incomplete form, whereas as opposed to someone else just said Super Saiyan 3 is the perfect game-ending form to use in a quick battle.
No,
it was already confirmed to actually drain a lot more power.
Exactly,
than
and
transformations.
it doesn't benefit a Saiyan's character at all. Saiyans like to drag out the battle so they can enjoy the battle as Saiyans.
Right, right.
And Super Saiyan 3, which consumes all of your ki and stamina, shortens that.
As we saw with Kid Buu versus Goku, because
Exactly.
that put a lot of pressure on Goku's body.
Exactly, and you saw how Goku was still enjoying himself.
Mm-hmm.
But Super Saiyan 3, because of the problems it has, it's just no.
I just personally think that as of right now, looking at Vegeta's character, and I love Vegeta to death, I don't think that whatever it is that Goku achieves, Vegeta is also going to achieve, unless they amaze us all and Goku achieves this new form, gets ringed out, and then Vegeta also achieves something very similar to that, where he breaks his limit, which would be mind blowing. It would be overkill, but at the same time, it'll be like at long last, just when you thought Goku was ahead, Vegeta has also caught up in nature. Because remember, going back in the time chamber, they were nearly equals. At a point they were, because they were training together for like 3 years, 3 days in the time chamber. They were training on Beerus's planet. They were doing everything together. And I think that overall, I think that Vegeta one day, hopefully enough, will also surpass Super Saiyan Blue. But I think that going into this tournament, Goku is going to break past his limits. And no, I don't think it's Kaioken, just because of the idea of Kaioken just taking a lot on your body, like all that pressure having to break you down. As we saw before, I don't think we're going to see something similar to where Goku had to forget about flying. And just going to King Kai's place was hard enough. I mean, if you guys remember the way he was flying around, just the way he was, doing simple things, it was very hard for him. So I don't think he wants to put himself through that again. But someone just said, do you think Vegeta is going to rival Goku's Super Saiyan Blue power non-Kaioken? In terms of like their base Super Saiyan Blue forms, what do you guys think?
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that happening.
Yeah, they're like neck and neck.
I could see, definitely. I don't see why not. If anything, you have to do that to make it, to make it.
But then again, do you have to? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you have to? You don't have to make Vegeta catch up to him in a way.
Well, yeah, if they're trying to push Gohan, you have to make Vegeta catch up.
Exactly, because they're rivals.
But then again, Goku doesn't look at Vegeta, I think, as the guy to surpass anymore. I think that more or less.
I mean, he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to. I mean, but at the end of the day, Vegeta, I mean, he's managed to do so many things and still be able to train and perform at a level that he's at right now. Like now he's a father and he's doing a great job with that. He's actually very involved with his family now, and he's still managing to do what he did before. So obviously he's capable of doing these things. Can we say the same for Goku at this point? No, because Goku's too concerned with growing in power that he's kind of neglecting everything else at this point. So as to where Vegeta is not. It's not to criticize them, it's just the way they design their characters. So it's our job to accept it and then talk about, well, what would be the sensible thing to do? I mean, how would you don't even have to be a fan of Vegeta, but to just totally dismiss him and put him on par with the likes of like a Piccolo and just put him in the back, just toss him in the back for a while.
Right.
He's always been there. Every single time. He's always been there. He's been a major part to Goku's success, whether you look at it or not. Whether you like it or not.
Someone just said, where do you rank Goku's base level now? Some people are saying with God Essence as well. With God Essence, Daz, what do you think?
There's no God Essence in base.
Yeah,
we just got.
There's your answer, guys.
But
because you can sense his ki, you can sense him. You know where he is.
Yeah.
So for those who believe that God Essence is embedded within base form and Super Saiyan stuff, what's your rebuttal to that? Because there are some people that would say, okay, well, you're wrong. God Essence is included in their base forms. What's your rebuttal to that?
We're not saying it's not there. We're not saying it doesn't exist. We're just saying it's only being utilized when he uses it to turn Super Saiyan Blue. Other than that, there's no other benefit to that. Why would God Essence, right, benefit anything other than what it was originally intended for? You know what I'm saying? So we're not saying it's not there. We're just saying that he only utilizes it when he turns Super Saiyan Blue and obtains all of the pros of it when he transforms into that. Other than that, it's not there.
What do you think, Daz?
I said the same thing as Emish.
And with everyone's... Go ahead.
That's why Gohan can compete with Goku at base form. That's why Krillin, if he wants, he could fight Goku at base form. Is Goku stronger than Krillin base form? millions of times stronger. Yes, I'm not saying he's not compared. I'm just saying that's why these people don't appear to be fodder to Goku in his base, or even in a Super Saiyan 1 or 2.
Exactly.
That's all.
Someone just said, is it possible for the half-breeds to obtain God Ki through their fathers, i.e. Trunks and Gohan?
No.
I don't know about Trunks, but I don't think...
No.
I'm not sure what... Well, it depends where they're trying to take Gohan. I'm not sure. I can't...
I mean, well, if you want to look at something similar done with Trunks, would you say that Gohan is prone to also achieving the exact same power, or do you see him achieving something different?
No, because at the end of the day, Gohan always had something that Trunks never had.
Exactly.
So no, they're two totally different characters. Yes, they're hybrids, but remember when the concept of potential for the hybrid Saiyans was even, brought to life it was from Gohan as a kid. No other Saiyan, Goten, Trunks, Future Trunks, nobody, even Future Gohan, and Future Gohan. The reason that happened was a result as to what was going on in his timeline. Despite everything that happened, it was already too late for him. He was still too young at that point to even do anything against the androids, because they killed his father, they killed everybody. So the potential, we're not saying it wasn't there, you know what I'm saying? But he wasn't even
able to tap into.
Right. You know what I'm saying? It just wasn't there.
Yeah,
In the Cell arc, Trunks came back, gave him the medicine, gave Goku the medicine. They went to the time chamber, and then Gohan became a Saiyan. In Trunks' timeline, that never happened. Gohan achieved it later on and was still killed off as a result of not being prepared overall as a fighter. And there go Trunks' Super Saiyan abilities was born as a result of Gohan dying, and that's why Future Trunks is the Gohan of his timeline.
Right.
And we have Gohan on this timeline, so that explains that.
Someone just said, is Mystic divine? No, it's not.
It's divinely inspired, but it's not divine.
Yeah, it's inspired, but it's not.
It's because everything the gods do, it's in reference to your base form. Whis' training, the Kaioshin, unlocking your potential, it all connects.
So, I mean, my final question to you guys is, would you consider this limit breaker from Goku's new power to be something to where it's going to be all of his inner power just manifested onto the surface, like everything that represents a Super Saiyan Blue manifesting onto the surface, or is it going to be something just like, as we said earlier, just something entirely different in terms of tier? Because what I'm guessing this is, in my opinion, is similar to how we saw Super Saiyan 1 and 2. This is going to be the next level as to what a Super Saiyan Blue is, just as we pointed out earlier, to a different extent, to where he can be comparable to a Hakaishin now, because depending on where you stand on Goku versus Beerus now, we all agree, I think it's safe to say that Beerus is still stronger than Goku. But with that being said, right, with Goku achieving this new power, I want to start with Emish because I know how much he loves Beerus. Once Goku achieves this new power, would you consider Goku to be an equal rival to Beerus then, or do you still think that it'll be impossible for Goku to even match up to Beerus?
No, because if they just introduced it and already he's on par, then there's no more money to be made at that point. At that point, you have to give the fans a Goku versus Beerus rematch eventually. But if they work it and they make Goku achieve something, that as to where they could make the be-all end-all, just like you said months ago on plenty of your videos, where a lot of fans would love to see a rematch, something that cannot be retconned anymore, right? It can give people a definitive answer. And even if Goku did lose still, at least it would be okay because people got the rematch that they wanted. So from a marketing perspective, no, it would be the stupidest thing in the world to just have him tap into to perfect Super Saiyan Blue, which was already considerably weaker than what Beerus is at this point. And then all of a sudden, just because he perfected it, he's now equal to him? That doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. So I would say this is a stepping stone for Goku and provides the company with a lot more content to provide you, the fan, or us as the fans. You know what I'm saying? Especially from a content creator perspective as well.
People are saying no, but he'll be dangerously close, whereas opposed to other people are saying that already he is near Beerus' strength at Super Saiyan Blue, but once he transforms and gets this new power, he'll be ahead. That's kind of hard to say because in its own respect, we've never seen Beerus at full power.
That's because people are already treating it as a transformation,
right?
Before it even happened. Transformations grant you new powers, yes, but when you perfect something, you use that, you utilize it. Yes, is it a buff? Yes, it's an increase in something, right? Yeah, but if you can perfect something and it gives you something new as a birth of that, as a result of that.
Right.
This is the God concept. Gods don't transform to begin with. So
exactly.
You can't really, I mean, you could say it's a transformation, but it's not the same way they do where they grow as Saiyans. Gods don't grow. They're in their base form all the time. So This is, like I said in the beginning, they're backpedaling to give people a concept where Goku can still be in his base form or still appear to be in his base form, similar to when Gohan powers up in his mystic form. He has the Super Saiyan hair, he has the bang.
And
Goku could still have the Super Saiyan hair but have black hair instead, or they could just keep him in his base form. It doesn't really matter.
Take light on what Gohan said to Goku. I want to achieve the same power as you, but in my own way. That's why the Kaioshin, when they unlock your potential, this new power, you're in your base. So it's the same concept with this whole God Essence thing.
Either
Because
way,
as gods, they're always in their base form.
It's a very interesting topic to talk about, because so far we can make the assumption and say that Goku is stronger. If not, he's gonna have like this new form that's gonna put him above the gods. But I do want to ask you guys, if you guys feel differently about this, go on ahead and let us know down below. We hope you guys enjoyed the overall discussion. Difference in opinions are going to come and go. People have different opinions as to where Goku stands, as to where Vegeta stands. I do want to thank my guests, Dazael and Emish's Live, for being here. You guys can go on ahead and check him out. I'm going to leave Emish's channel in the description. And of course, he's going to be hosting his own live stream later on tonight. And you guys can go on ahead and also join our Discord as well if you guys want to talk Dragon Ball with us. I want to thank you both for being here, and thank you all for watching. If you guys are fans, don't forget to subscribe. If you guys did enjoy the live stream, please go on ahead and show your love by slapping a like on this video. Let's see how many likes we can get, guys. Thank you all for watching. As always, thank you guys for being here, and we'll be seeing you all in the next Dragon Ball discussion video. Take it easy, guys.